Top 5 things I love about my truck. Wait a minute, didn't we do that video already? This is the things I don't like about this truck. That's going to be a shorter list because I really like this truck. This is a 96 Ram, has a 5.9 Magnum V8 in it. Starting off, yeah, she's getting rusty. All these trucks are. I mean, down here we're getting some bubbles. Up underneath, under the driver's door, these front fenders. I'm going to get new fenders at some point. I'd like to get this truck totally repainted. Oh yeah, the front grille, this stuff, this fake stick-on chrome, it's just peeling off there. That's pretty common. We come over here and just a horrible design. There's a big open hole here and everything just falls down in. Critters bring stuff in. This side's not as bad. We're getting a little bit of a bubbly right there and a lot more than I'd like to see right there. We still got cap corners and stuff. And we come back here over the fender well, of course. And the mufflers also love to rot out. This is the third one I'm on. And as it sits right now, it's actually got a hole in that kink back there. So that needs replaced too. I just put that new muffler on not long ago. The factory muffler was all rotted out. The one on the Dare truck I had, it was also a 96 Ram, its muffler rotted out. So these things seem to like to have rotten mufflers. My next biggest gripe is the factory mirrors. I appreciate they got chrome on them, but they are just so small compared to the tow mirrors from later generations. And these are such a nice upgrade. I highly recommend getting one with the bubbled out mirror for the side. Makes such a big difference. I went ahead and found chrome ones for mine. Generally you find these in black. You can find them with the little marker light. You just got to wire all that stuff up. These are heated, but this early version truck didn't really have a heated mirror wire, so you had to modify this to make it work inside the door. There's 3 wires. It's not really difficult. You just got to figure out what one's up, down, left, and right, and a ground, and pop those back in, and they work. Now my mirror's going to be all messed up. Moving in, we've got the annoying buzzer. I kind of like the beep a little bit better myself, but you listen to that long enough, you'll learn to hate it. So let's start on the doors and work our way in, shall we? First off, you'll notice that little plastic tab right there is not attaching the door to anything. Well, that's because the plastic bit back here is broken. So I get to listen to this thing rattle around all the time as I'm driving down the road and hitting bumps. Also, we have a part rotted out there. I'm still not totally sure. There's supposed to be something bolted on there, and there's a piece of metal floating around in it. Not totally sure what's up with that, but I'm sure that's not good. As you can see, our fuse box door is no longer holding itself together, so there's a little screw to keep that on. And then, surprisingly, that screw was able to go into there without doing this to the dash. Oh yeah, she's a Dodge. These things love to crack their dash. Surprisingly, this one's actually in pretty good shape. I mean, the dash mat is your friend. Just set that on there and forget that it's all cracked up and awful looking. That there is not the original one to this truck, this bottom knee board, whatever you want to call it, because it was intact when I bought it, but I hit this with my knee as I was getting out and the thing just kind of shattered. So I don't like that. You get in a wreck, I have a feeling this thing's going to send a lot of plastic into your legs, but I'd rather have that with the foam backer behind it than just going straight into the cavity that's up in front of it. The buzzer works when it wants to on this truck, and my other one, somehow it just totally fell out. It didn't even have a buzzer in it. It did when I got it, but at some point it fell out and I never could find it. I guess it got kicked out and it was actually missing out of here. And to get to the buzzer, you almost have to move this thing forward, the fuse panel in there, to get that buzzer out. It is really tight in there. The radios are kind of garbage in these trucks. They seem to have a high fail rate. Well, out of my 3 trucks I've owned, the This is the only one that had a working radio when I got it, and it had the Infinity sound system. These nice little speakers in the door, say Infinity on them, and this one had all the little mixer controls and everything on it, but it got to where it would just turn on and off at random, and I got tired of dealing with it, so I went ahead and found this one. It was supposedly out of a minivan, like a 95, I think the tag said on it, and put it in here. Seems to work all right. Cassette player works, but you're probably going to end up putting a different radio in it. You can always get one of these things. I've got a video on that to connect your phone to it. So we're at 192,000 miles on this truck, and I've probably put, I don't know, about 80,000 miles, 180,000 on it when I got it. So I've probably put about 10,000 miles on it. Not a ton. I don't drive it a whole lot, and as you'll see in a minute here, it's really bumpy going down the road. That leads me on to some more gripes. We'll pop the hood and look at some more. To clarify, the seats are really comfortable. I don't have too much of a gripe with the rest of the interior. Oh yes, I do. This, you know, I'm scared to try and pull it out because it's kind of broken. These cup holders are the worst cup holders ever. Whoever thought that was a good idea needed to be fired. The newer ones are at least down here, and I think they have a deeper cup holder. These things are just kind of floating up. They sit down just a little bit. They're not much of a cup holder. They do make an aftermarket console thing that slots into there, and you got two cup holders and like a little tray thing. I've wanted to get those, but for this early generation of RAM, they were like $70 the last time I looked. And for the later ones, which had a different center console, of course they were cheaper. I guess there's just more of those on the road, or maybe the design's just more complex on this. This here is a nice addition. I think this was like 20 bucks for, because this vinyl thing gets cold in the winter. You go to put your bare arm on that and it'll cool you off quick. Well, while we're at it, I guess I'll say the headliners love to fall down, but I think that's about any vehicle. At least this still has the foam in it. And the plastic's up here. I've kind of got that, yeah, there ain't much holding that up there. The tab broke off inside of there when I was doing something. So, definitely has some issues with the plastics. Again, that's a weak point for Dodge. Now at the hood spot, we can go over the three worst things about these trucks. And that's going to be your transmission, your steering box, and your front end. I highly recommend just changing that steering box out if it hasn't been done already. Find a good brand. I don't know exactly what to go with. I haven't had enough issues with this one. Someone's changed it at one time and I don't know what's down there. But I know it's been swapped out, and the front end has greasable ball joints and everything down there is greasable. So definitely, if it's got greasable stuff, keep that greased. It makes such a big difference when I pump fresh grease into there, and it drives so much straighter. The transmissions in these trucks, well, I need to get up there and vacuum that out. That's just a fire waiting to happen. Yeah, we're gonna have to clean that. But yeah, critters love getting up. There's tons of gaps that critters and all sorts of stuff can get up in here and build a nest real easy. The transmissions, though, they just love to slip. This one, so far, at almost 200,000 miles, has had no issues for me. I don't know if anything's been done to it. I don't know what the history is on it. I know this truck towed a trailer down the highway most of its life, and that was about it. It sat in a barn for the rest of it. So, until the previous owner got it, and then he kind of used it for just chores here and there, but it didn't see heavy use under him from what he said. And I believe it. So yeah, your transmission, if you take one for a test drive and it's slipping, my other truck really hated going from second to third, and sometimes overdrive was kind of an issue, and first to second would be a long time for it to shift between that. And I had work done to that transmission, kind of, you know, adjust the bands where you can and stuff. It still just never drove quite right. About the same transmission in that Dodge Dakota. That's an 01, but it had to be replaced. That was about 1,700-1,800 bucks getting that transmission done up. And yeah, definitely these transmissions are garbage. If it shifts great, go for it. If it doesn't, you're probably gonna have to put some money into it. I'll just let you know that now. So big gripe, front end transmissions. Engine, honestly, I really haven't had that many issues with it. It runs great. It needed a water pump and something else had to be changed. I don't remember what it was. A sensor of some sort. It was an oil sensor. But an idler bearing needed, a pulley needed replaced. So got all that work done to it. Wasn't bad. And we're back on the road. The ABS, so far I've had 3 of these trucks, and every one the ABS light was on. This one actually has all-wheel ABS, where most of them just have I believe rear wheels standard and front wheels the option. I don't quite remember, but if it doesn't have this big giant box up here, you probably don't have that, because my other one didn't. But it will have something in form of an ABS. So, which I don't know, my light's on, so I couldn't tell you how well it works anyway. The biggest negative I can say about the engine is it is a gas hog. You know, you're looking probably 10 to 12 miles per gallon, somewhere in there. 35-gallon fuel tank, you still get a decent range if you fill up the tank all the way, but it's a little costly to drive this thing daily. Also, driving it daily, that leads me to another thing. It has really stiff suspension. It's a 3/4 ton truck. I knew this going in. I don't know how that dash hasn't fallen apart worse than that. The way that whole dash shakes every time you hit a bump with this, because you feel every bump. Are you still watching? Because I got another thing to complain about. The headlights. They're not that great. I know I've got a brush guard and ooh, it blocks well. Even without these, they still aren't very good. I put some higher output bulbs in it and everything, and it's still just, if it's raining on the road and it's real dark out, it just kind of reflects the light around. You still can't see in front of you. These little fog lights almost do more than those, and those things are great, especially in the snow. That's about the only time I ever run those. They don't do anything otherwise, not much at least, but they cut right through the snow. So anyway, we're going to go ahead, fire this truck up. Alright, we'll go for a little test drive here. You can see how bumpy everything is. You can see how much play I got in the steering wheel here. It's not terrible. Yeah, all right, look at this. We are going down a paved road and it's pretty bumpy. Going about 30. I don't know if you guys can see a speedometer or not. I'm still kind of new at doing this bit with the head strap on. I already had a funny look from someone I drove by. Trains on the track. Let's go. these trucks. They get wind noise. You have a lot of air gaps in the doors. As you can see, the play isn't awful in this truck, but a lot of them it's pretty sloppy. Shut it down a little bit. Everybody flies down this road. Up here, I think. Go down this road a little bit. Oh, they finally tore that building down. There used to be a barn right there. Been out this way in a while. But you see what I mean? Super bumpy. Chevy in there. Like Geo too. All the door rattling stuff I gotta listen to. I hope any of this footage is usable. I think we're gonna call that a video. Well, I think that's about everything I don't like about this truck. I hope you enjoyed the ride along. I kind of forgot that this is a GoPro and its job is to be good in rough environments, so maybe I didn't show up as good how bumpy this thing really is. But for the most part, it's a pretty good truck. I don't have too much I can run down on it, but there are definitely things you need to look out for. Like I say, the transmission, the front ends, the amount of rust they get, because they do like to rot, but so does any vehicle. That Dodge there, it's getting pretty sad too. We'll do a video on this one at some point. And yeah, overall pretty good. Just some little gripes I have here and there. You've probably heard this thing just rattling around, and you know, there's not a whole lot I can do because, like I say, the tabs on the inside are busted out. I guess I could run screws in around the corners, or I could go steal the door panel off my parts truck. That's probably what's going to happen at some point, because I do plan on keeping this long term. And like I said, the cup holders are garbage, the dashes are garbage, the transmissions, you got to keep an eye on them, and the front ends definitely need to keep a good eye on them. I don't have a ton of play in this, but there's a little bit of slop. It's not terrible though. It's still easily drivable, but these things can get really bad really quick too. So, and if you got greasable points on there, go grease them. Don't forget, it will make a big difference and make them last a lot longer. So I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, leave a like, hit subscribe, and stay tuned for more. And you all have a great day.